Padma, are you ready?
Yes, Eric.
Yes, okay, please introduce yourself fully. Tell us where you're telling from, and please tell us a story.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and I'm really happy and thank you, Eric, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I have, like my counterpart, just ventured into this world of storytelling, and it's my first experience with Eric. Thank you so much, and I'm here to share a Chinese fairy tale with you, and hope you'll like it. Thank you. Here I go. Just outside the walls of a Chinese city lived a young woodcutter named Tang, along with his aged mother. They lived in a tiny one-room shanty built of mud and grass, and even this, they borrowed it from the neighbor. Every day, Tang would rise up early and go up to the mountain near his home. There, he spent the day cutting and gathering firewood. In the evening, he would return, take the wood to the market, sell it, and bring back food for mother and himself. This was his usual routine. One day, Tang woke up earlier than daylight. He carried his axe on his shoulder and bade goodbye to his mother. Just before leaving, he said, "You know, mother, tomorrow is a holiday and we should be eating some good food, so I'm going to be carrying heavier load than usual." Saying this, he set out to the mountains. And the old mother went about her chores all day long, waiting for the sun's return. Soon, the sun began to sink lower and lower in the western horizon. And all that was visible to the old mother was only a flock of sheep being led by a shepherd along the distance in the mountain path. There was no sign of Tang. My boy, she began to worry for her son. She grabbed her crutches and limped off to the neighbors for some help. But no one was prepared to go, fearing the dangers of the wild beast in the mountains. However, there was one kind neighbor who was willing to help. And when he had just reached halfway up the slope, he spotted a pile of torn clothes, splattered with blood, the woodsman axe, and some rope. Oh no! The neighbor felt sorry. He picked up all that he had spotted and started to descend down the mountain. He was walking towards the old mother's home when the cry of despair. The old mother need not be explained as to what had happened when she noticed what the neighbor was carrying in his hand. She wept, she tore her head, she beat her chest and lamented her son's loss. The next day, she calmed down, gathered some courage, and slowly set out to the city, slowly making her way by means of her crutches. When she reached the city, she asked her way to the public hall. And at the gate of the public hall, she knelt down. The mandarin or the judge was entering for his usual day of business. And he noticed the old mother weeping and wailing. He stopped by and asked, "What's the matter, old mother? Why do you create such an uproar? Come on, speak up quickly and tell me of your trouble." So the old mother narrated her tale and said, "Thus, I have come to seek justice, to see that the slayer of my son is punished. I am lame and blind and I have no means of earning. And I am a desolate orphan." "What? Old mother, did you not say that it was this tiger that killed your son? And how can a tiger be brought to justice? You must have lost your senses. Come on now, get back home quickly." She was stubborn. She never didn't want to let go. She cried and howled and wept and moaned until the courtroom echoed with her cries. The judge couldn't stand it any longer and he said, "Hold on, mother, I will do what you ask for." So he exclaimed an order and handed it over to a man named Lianing. And you know what? Our poor Lianing was drunk. He was not aware of the warrant. He just thought it is some usual business to be done on behalf of the judge. So he took it and went back home. The next day, when Lianing slept off his drunkenness, he realized his foolishness. A tiger. I don't think it's possible. So he takes the warrant back to the judge and hands it over to him and says, I cannot accomplish this task. And why not? Asked the judge. My lord, I was not aware when the warrant was handed over to me. I was drunk. I can catch a man, but not a tiger. Very well, then take the help of the hunters and see that the tiger is produced in the court at the end of 5 days, said the judge. So the best of the hunters were employed in the country, and the search was on day and night looking for the guilty tiger. At the end of 5 days, Lianing was summoned and given 50 clues. Poor Lianing. This continued for another 6 weeks, and Lianing feared for his dear life. If this repeated the next month, his life would be in danger. But there was no sign of the tiger being caught at all. So he waited. He waited, and until the hunters had given up their search in disgust and returned to their homes in the valley, Lianing went up to the mountain. There was a small mountain temple there. He went there. He knelt down. He pleaded, he cried and begged for help. Tears were rolling down his cheek. Just then, he heard a rustle. Looking up, he saw, the great cat he had been looking for all the while. It was just there, right before him. But he was not afraid. This was the only way he could save his life. Hey, you, aren't you the same fellow who carried away the woodsman last month? And now have you come to eat me? I'm sorry. My flesh will be trifle to you because I have received 400 blows. You know why? The woodsman mother has reported you to the judge, who in turn has an arrest warrant signed up against you. I have been employed to look for you and lead you to trial. And for some reason, you have been acting coward. And this is the reason for my beating. Now, I would like you to come with me and answer the charge of your killing. And all the while Lianing was speaking, the tiger listened like a tame cat. It never showed any resistance. It didn't want to run. Instead, it bent forward and bent his head forward to let Lianing slip a strong chain around its neck. It followed him down the mountain, through the streets, and into the courtroom. It was a sight all along for whoever had seen a tiger walk like a prisoner on the streets. The tiger didn't seem to be bothered. It just walked majestically and sat before the Mandarin like a huge, great cat. The Mandarin, prisoner, called the Mandarin. Are you guilty of eating the man, the woodsman last month? The tiger gravely nodded its head. Yes, it's him. Kill him, kill him. He killed my son, my only son. Kill him. Shh, said the Mandarin, and hushed the lady. He spoke to the tiger. Tiger, are you aware that you have robbed a helpless woman of her soul support? And she is crying for vengeance. You are guilty for your crime and need to be punished. But I am not a cruel judge. I can give you a chance. If you agree to take the place of the old widow's son, you will be let free, or else you will have to face penalty. Do you accept my offer? Asked the Mandarin. And all the people gathered there were gaping and craning their necks to see how the wild beast would react. The tiger waited a few minutes. And what do you think would have happened? He nodded his head in acceptance. And all right then, you're free to go, but remember your promise, said the Mandarin. The chains were untied and the tiger walked away freely. The old mother was mumbling, for she or anybody in that court was unwilling to believe that the tiger would take the place of a son. Nevertheless, she went back home disheartened. The next morning, when she opened her door for fresh air, she just couldn't believe her eyes. And to everybody's surprise in the village, she could see the carcass of a deer right in front of her door. The tiger son had begun to keep his promise. She dressed the carcass and went to the market, sold it for a handsome money, and she was laden with food for the rest of the week. The next week, the tiger returned with a piece of silk cloth tied with a lot of money in it. He dropped these new gifts at her feet and watched her at a distance. He purred contentedly. He didn't wait for the woman, he ran away. And this continued week after week. Slowly, the tiger began to get attached to the foster mother. It waited for her to come stroke his fur, pat him, and talk to him. Year after year, the weekly offerings never failed until the widow was well provided for. At last, when the course of nature took away the good old soul, there was enough money left for a decent burial and a handsome tombstone on which a story was etched, just as you heard it from me today. As for our poor tiger, it laid on her grave and it wailed like a child that had lost its mother. It searched for her longingly through the mountain slopes. It longed to hear her voice. It kept returning to the empty cottage night after night, but in vain. One day, it disappeared from the mountain slopes. No one knows where it had gone to this day. Some believe maybe it must have died of grief in its cave, while some others believe that it must have been taken to the western heaven to be rewarded for its good deed and to live as an angel and fairy forever and ever. Thank you.
Okay, beautifully done. Your acting is just wonderful.
Thank you.
Absolutely authentic.
Thank you.
And really, you've given us a great example of how to tell story with full acting, and you took your time. You were not driven to do it fast or to finish.
I enjoyed the experience.
Yes, you were not going like, and then this happened, and that happened, and this happened, and that happened. No, you just took it step by step and let the story unfold. So that's really great.
Did you all like it?
Anybody else? Any thoughts? Comments?
Hi, Padma. Lalita here. Eric, may I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Padma, that was a beautiful telling, Padma. I really loved your expressions. You really brought alive the story and we could visualize every scene. And it's a lovely story of how animals also can be so empathetic and the beautiful relationship between the tiger and the foster mother. Thank you so much, Padma. I really enjoyed your narration.
Thank you. Thank you, Lalita.
It was a fairy tale, that a fantasy. Of course, tigers can't understand English or Hindi or any other language, but in a story like that, we don't mind. We give it, what is it called? We give it. We don't insist that it be realistic. We suspend our demand for realism. So it was just very engaging. Gustav?
I have only one question. I read another story the other day. Tigers are the only cat animals that eat people, that like to eat meat. Is that true? That they can grow accustomed to not lions but tigers. They are man eaters. That's true, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think in some places there's folklore that if a tiger eats a person, that tiger has to be put to death because they develop a taste for human flesh. But fortunately, that was not the custom where this story took place. Anybody else?
Yes.
Go ahead, Shilpa.
Padma, I really like the way you narrated the story, the expressions, and like Lalita said, we could visualize everything. It was a very beautiful story and very well narrated.
Thank you, Shilpa.
Yeah, I also would like to add the same thing. Padma, the story, I enjoyed the part where you put emotions in the people's reaction, like croon to watch what's going on. And it was, I think it was very engaging. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You know,
Yes,
but
and
I
also-
don't think she had to put emotions in. I think the story and the acting created its own emotions. Nothing was forced. Somebody else?
Yes, hi Eric.
Go
Hi
ahead.
Padma. Padma, it was good. We did really enjoy. And the way you
Thank-
brought out those emotions, expressions were really brilliant.
Thank you.
brought
Is
them out
it
very well.
Jayanti or Lakshmi? I can't.
Raji.
Hello, your connection is not stable. I think you're breaking. I'm not
Okay,
hearing you.
Priyanka, did you want to say something? Your hand
Hi,
was up.
good evening, everyone. Padma, I started feeling like the tiger.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I started missing the lady. And
My God.
it is the power of the storyteller, indeed, that we start feeling the emotions. It's like you hold the hand of the audience and take the person inside the story. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored, Priyanka.
Okay, thank you very much, Padma. Now we will proceed.